La galaxia ya no era la misma. No porque hubiera una guerra, no porque alguna raza antigua hubiera caído. Había cambiado porque el miedo ya no venía de lo desconocido, venía de lo conocido, de la humanidad. Pero lo más extraño era que ellos no querían ese poder, no lo reclamaban. No exigían tronos, ni títulos, ni dominio sobre los sistemas. No pedían nada, solo actuaban, como si supieran exactamente qué venía, y como si no tuvieran tiempo para explicar. Las razas del Consejo empezaron a comprenderlo lentamente. Cada movimiento humano no era un despliegue de fuerza, sino un paso en una danza milimétrica. Cada estación de materia oscura, cada nave silenciosa, cada mensaje críptico, todo tenía un propósito. No era conquista, era contención, precisión, protección. La humanidad había elegido un rol que nadie más quería, ser la primera línea de defensa contra lo que venía, y lo que venía ya estaba cerca. Las señales eran claras. En los bordes más alejados del espacio conocido, las estrellas empezaban a comportarse de manera extraña. Algunas colapsaban sin razón, otras cambiaban de lugar. Incluso hubo casos donde sistemas completos desaparecieron del mapa, como si nunca hubieran existido. Lo más aterrador no eran los hechos, sino el patrón. Porque cada una de esas desapariciones seguía una línea invisible, una trayectoria. Y esa trayectoria venía directo hacia el centro galáctico. Los humanos ya lo sabían. Lo habían sabido desde antes que nadie. Por eso sus estaciones estaban colocadas como estaban. Por eso sus naves parecían esperar algo. En 1900, silencio, apuntando hacia la nada. Una raza llamada Kioren, conocida por su habilidad de detectar cambios cuánticos en la realidad, envió una sonda especial hacia un punto oscuro entre sistemas. La sonda no volvió, pero lo que envió antes de apagarse fue aterrador. Imágenes borrosas de una estructura que no era materia, ni energía, ni vacío. Algo que no debía existir en ninguna parte del universo, y sin embargo, estaba allí, y avanzaba. Los humanos no reaccionaron públicamente. No enviaron advertencias. No compartieron sus planes. Pero sus naves comenzaron a moverse. Algunas de las más grandes, que parecían estar ancladas a puntos fijos del espacio, se encendieron. No tenían propulsores visibles, simplemente flotaban, y luego desaparecían, como si se desmaterializaran, solo para aparecer en otros sistemas segundos después. Era como si hubieran roto las reglas del espacio-tiempo. El Consejo entró en estado de emergencia. Las razas más poderosas ofrecieron ayuda a la humanidad, pero no hubo respuesta, solo silencio. Hasta que un día, en los canales de emergencia, apareció una señal humana. No era una voz, era una imagen, un dibujo simple, hecho de líneas blancas sobre fondo negro. Era un escudo, pero detrás del escudo había fuego, y debajo una frase. Lo que duerme está despertando. Solo el que ya no sueña puede detenerlo. Nadie entendía del todo, pero el mensaje era claro. La amenaza era real. Y los humanos se estaban preparando para enfrentarlo, solos. Algunos decían que estaban locos, que no tenían ninguna posibilidad, pero otros, los que habían visto sus naves, los que habían sentido su tecnología de cerca, sabían que la humanidad no hablaba en vano. Y entonces, una luz negra apareció. No era un agujero negro, no era energía. Era lo opuesto a todo. Surgió en el borde de la galaxia, justo donde las estaciones humanas estaban más concentradas. Fue como si el universo se abriera hacia adentro, como si la realidad se agrietara. De allí salieron formas que nadie pudo describir. No tenían cuerpo, ni rostro, ni sonido, pero consumían todo. No destruían con fuego ni armas, solo avanzaban, y el espacio dejaba de existir detrás de ellas. La humanidad actuó sin dudar. Activaron todas sus estaciones. Sus naves más grandes se colocaron en formación. Cada una liberó campos de materia oscura que envolvieron regiones enteras del espacio, cerrando rutas, bloqueando accesos como un escudo invisible. Y entonces comenzó la guerra. Pero no fue una guerra como las del Consejo. No hubo batallas con rayos, explosiones o flotas alineadas. Fue una guerra de realidades, una guerra de dimensiones, una guerra donde cada segundo duraba años y cada error podía destruir sistemas enteros. Los humanos no gritaban, no se comunicaban, solo luchaban, con precisión, con fuerza, con fe. Algunos observadores del Consejo que estaban cerca de los campos de batalla apenas podían entender lo que veían. Era como si las leyes del universo colapsaran y se volvieran a armar cada instante. Y en medio de todo eso, las naves humanas seguían firmes, oscuras, silenciosas, resistiendo. Durante semanas el frente se mantuvo. La cosa que venía del abismo no podía avanzar. Por primera vez había encontrado algo que no podía consumir, la humanidad, y entonces, como un rugido silencioso, el enemigo retrocedió. No fue derrotado, pero fue contenido. Por ahora. Las estaciones humanas comenzaron a repararse solas. Las naves regresaron a posiciones defensivas. La galaxia se calmó. Pero nadie volvió a dormir tranquilo, porque ahora sabían. Sabían que la humanidad no era solo una especie más. Eran los vigilantes del borde, los que ya no soñaban, los que, por alguna razón, habían sido elegidos, o se habían ofrecido, para enfrentarse a lo innombrable. El Consejo, por primera vez en su historia, declaró oficialmente a la humanidad como entidad autónoma de protección galáctica. No porque lo merecieran, no porque lo pidieran, sino porque ya lo eran. En la Tierra, nadie celebró. Nadie sabía lo que había pasado. El ciudadano común seguía su vida, sin saber que, en el borde del universo, los suyos habían salvado a millones de mundos. Porque así era la humanidad ahora, silenciosa, fuerte, vigilante. Y mientras los miembros del Consejo discutían qué hacer, los humanos enviaron un último mensaje. Solo una frase. Lo detuvimos. Pero volverá. No nos miren. Prepárense. Y luego, el silencio otra vez. Las naves humanas volvieron a ocultarse. Las estaciones se camuflaron en el vacío, y el universo siguió girando. Pero todos sabían que algo había cambiado. La humanidad ya no era una pregunta. Era la respuesta. Y en las noches más oscuras, cuando las estrellas parpadeaban con miedo, había una certeza que reconfortaba a las razas del Consejo. Ellos estaban allí, esperando, sin pedir nada, sin querer gloria, solo listos para cuando la oscuridad regresara. The planet Earth looked small and weak from space. Surrounded by a blue atmosphere and clouds, it didn't seem dangerous at all. From far away, it looked peaceful, even innocent. But in the galaxy, many alien civilizations watched it quietly. They had been observing humans for a long time. Some found them funny, others found them primitive. Most thought the same thing. Earth is not a threat. The Galactic Council was made of powerful species from all corners of the universe. They had traveled across stars, built huge empires, and destroyed anything that stood in their way. One day, during a regular council meeting, one alien species, the Valari, spoke up. The Valari were aggressive, proud, and known for conquering weak planets. They said, "Why don't we take Earth? It's undefended. It has no shields, no serious space technology, no interstellar communication. It's easy." Some members of the council agreed. Earth was chaotic, always fighting wars among itself. Countries on Earth didn't even unite under one government. Some aliens laughed, saying humans were still using fossil fuels and arguing about borders like children. Compared to the advanced races of the galaxy, humans were like cavemen with smartphones. But one alien did not laugh. His name was Kale Varn, from the observer species called the Alari. His race never fought or conquered, they only watched and learned. Kale Varn had spent many years quietly studying Earth. He had read all the reports, watched human news, and even learned to understand human languages. Something about humans made him feel uneasy. Kael'varn raised his voice. "Wait," he said calmly. "Something is wrong with this planet." The council turned to look at him. He continued, "This is not the first time we've watched Earth. Hundreds, maybe thousands of years ago, other species tried to contact or control them. Where are those species now?" Silence filled the room. Kael'varn looked around. The Yllari, the Threxen, the Aquari, all of them had the same plan. Take Earth, all of them, vanished. The Valari ambassador smirked. They were weak. They probably failed for unrelated reasons. Kael'varn shook his head. Too many coincidences, too many missing ships, and each time the only common factor is Earth. The council didn't want to listen. Some thought Kael'varn was being paranoid. Others said he was just overthinking. But a few of the older members felt something shift in the air. They remembered the old stories, the ones no one tells anymore. Stories about a blue planet that fights like no other. Even after this warning, the Valari insisted. They said they would prove Earth's weakness. "We will send a small scout ship, just one. It will scan the planet and return in hours. Then we will know the truth." Kael'varn didn't stop them. But inside, he had a feeling the ship would not return, and he was right. The scout entered the edge of Earth's solar system. Everything seemed normal at first. It passed Saturn, then Jupiter, and approached the Earth-Moon region. The Valari ship activated stealth mode, hidden from human eyes and radars. It reached orbit, prepared to take samples and record data. 43 seconds later, the ship disappeared. No explosion, no signal, no trace. The Valari panicked. They tried to call the ship. Nothing. They sent drones to scan the area. Nothing. It was as if the ship had never existed. When the council demanded an explanation, Earth responded with silence. Human satellites showed no activity. Earth's people didn't even notice anything. Or maybe they did, and they were pretending. Now Kael'varn had the council's full attention. He asked for permission to study the deep records, the ones hidden in ancient data cores and forbidden archives. He wanted to know everything about Earth's history with alien contact. His request was granted. As he began digging through centuries of forgotten information, something strange became clear. Earth had been visited many times, but every time someone got too close, something terrible happened. Either the visitors vanished or they sent one final message filled with fear, then silence. Why? Kael'varn started connecting the dots. He noticed patterns. Every 200 or 300 years, some powerful species would try to interfere with Earth. And every time that species would collapse or disappear. Even the records about those events were often lost or corrupted, as if something wanted those stories forgotten. He found one report from a scout who survived. The alien had landed on Earth in the early 1900s disguised as a human. The report said, "They fight each other constantly. They are violent, unpredictable, emotional. But they learn fast. Very fast. Too fast. I think they are not what they appear to be." That was the last line. After that, the scout signal was never heard again. Kael'varn sat in silence, thinking. Maybe the humans had something, some hidden defense, or some ancient technology. Or maybe it was just them. The humans themselves, their nature, their madness. He watched recordings of human wars. World wars, civil wars, revolutions. They fought over land, over ideas, over emotions. But they always survived. They came back stronger. Sometimes they even laughed in the middle of disaster. Who were these people? They had no force fields, no teleporters, no galactic fleets. Yet they had built bombs that could destroy cities. They had gone to their moon with primitive rockets. They had filled the internet with information and chaos. They loved, hated, created art, and destroyed it, all in the same breath. Kael'varn realized something chilling. The humans didn't need alien help. They didn't want to be ruled. They didn't even want peace, not really. What they wanted was the freedom to fight, grow, and become whatever they chose. That made them dangerous. He wrote in his personal log, "Earth is not weak, it is wild, and in the wild the most dangerous creature is not the strongest, it is the one that survives everything and smiles afterward." He decided to continue his research, but now with extreme caution, because something told him the humans were watching too. Kael'varn couldn't sleep. Not that his species needed sleep like humans, but his mind was spinning with questions. What happened to that Valari scout ship? One moment it was in Earth's orbit, and the next, nothing. No signal. No escape. Message, not even a last scream. Just pure silence. Kael'varn knew that kind of silence. It wasn't natural. It was the kind that follows something powerful and deliberate, something with intention. The Valari were furious. They were proud warriors, used to winning, used to fear, but now they looked weak in front of the Galactic Council. Their ship had vanished without a trace, and they had no answer. So they did what many proud species do when they don't understand something. They blamed someone else. They said humans must have stolen or destroyed the ship. But how? Earth had no planetary defenses, no weapons in orbit, no fleets, nothing that could even scratch Valari technology. At least, nothing visible. Kael'varn didn't argue with them. Instead, he requested full access to the galactic archives, the ancient ones, sealed and protected for thousands of cycles. These archives held the lost histories, reports from extinct species, and data from times when the galaxy was still wild. As he dug deeper, he noticed a disturbing pattern. Hundreds of years ago, a powerful empire called the Ilari tried to secretly invade Earth. The Ilari were feared across 3 sectors. They had black ships powered by dark energy and weapons that could bend time. But after they entered the solar system, all communication stopped. At first, the galaxy thought it was a technical issue. Then, after 3 days, a single message arrived. It wasn't in any alien language. It was in English. The message was short. "Do not come back." That was the last known signal from the Ilari. Their empire collapsed shortly after. No one knows why. No civil war, no plague, just silence, like they were erased. Another case involved the Threxan, a species obsessed with controlling lesser worlds. They sent drones to Earth in the year 1983 just to observe. One drone survived long enough to send back data. It recorded images of human soldiers training, laughing, fighting, inventing strange machines. One line in the final report stood out to Kael'varn. "They're insane, but they love it." After that, all Threxan ships that approached Earth simply stopped. Their command centers received reports of system failures, mental breakdowns in their crews, and even strange hallucinations. One pilot claimed to hear human music playing inside his helmet even when the radio was off. Then he screamed, and the line went dead. Kael'varn wasn't afraid. Not exactly. He was curious. He believed the galaxy had misunderstood humans. Maybe they weren't weak at all. Maybe they were something else entirely, something unpredictable. He found a forgotten report from the Equari, a species that believed in peace and diplomacy. They tried to contact Earth through subtle messages, thinking humans just needed guidance. They sent an envoy ship with a team of friendly explorers. That ship never returned. But a few years later, a small book was found floating in a debris cloud near Pluto. It had one sentence written inside. "We offered peace. They offered fire." The council had always ignored these stories. They sounded like ghost tales, or myths made to scare young explorers. But Kael'varn saw the pattern clearly now. Earth didn't just survive these encounters, it responded. And the response was always terrifying in its simplicity. Meanwhile, the Valari were getting desperate. Their reputation was in danger, and their warriors were hungry for revenge. So they sent another ship, this time larger, with better cloaking, stronger weapons, and a full combat crew. They didn't tell the council. It was a secret mission, a test, a trap. Kael'varn only found out when he saw the ship's movement logs. He rushed to warn the council. But by the time they acted, the Volari ship had already entered Earth's orbit. It lasted 11 minutes. At minute 5, it stopped sending updates. At minute 7, all systems went dark. At minute 10, the Council detected a sudden energy spike from Earth's surface. A signal burst, clean, encrypted, and aimed directly at Galactic HQ. It was a message. In perfect, calm English, it said, "The second attempt has failed. Stop sending toys. This is your final warning." Attached to the message was a file. It was a map of the galaxy. But something was wrong. Several star systems were marked in red. When cross-referenced, the Council realized those were the homeworlds of every species that had tried to invade Earth. Every one of them was now lifeless. Cale Varn stared at the file for hours. His hands trembled. Earth had not only survived every attack, it had tracked the attackers back to their homes and destroyed them quietly, without war, without glory, just erased them. But how? Humans had no ships capable of that kind of travel. No records of massive space fleets. No signs of advanced energy weapons or interdimensional technology. According to all scientific data, Earth was still a young world. And yet, the evidence said otherwise. Cale Varn began to consider a terrifying possibility. Maybe humans didn't invent the technology. Maybe they found something. Or maybe something found them. An artifact, a hidden code, a cosmic force sleeping beneath their planet. Whatever it was, humans had used it. Or it had used them. He reviewed Earth history again, this time focusing on their darkest times. World War II, the Cold War, nuclear testing. It was almost like humans had been preparing for something for a very long time. Fighting not just each other, but shaping themselves into survivors, into predators. There was something strange in their culture, too. Humans made jokes about the end of the world. They played games about alien invasions. They imagined monsters, apocalypse, resistance. While other species feared chaos, humans made it into entertainment. Who laughs at extinction? Cale Varn finally wrote a report for the Council. He included all the stories, all the vanished ships, all the strange messages. His conclusion was simple. Earth is not to be touched, not because they are strong, but because they are willing to become monsters to survive. The Council held an emergency meeting. The vote was close, but they decided to declare the solar system a forbidden zone. No ship may enter. No contact is allowed. Earth would be left alone. But Cale Varn knew it was too late, because someone on Earth had already noticed the Council. At the edge of human technology, a new signal was detected. On Earth's side, a pulse in deep space and a frequency no one had used before. It wasn't a message, it wasn't a weapon, it was a scan. The humans were now looking back, and Cale Varn understood one last truth. Maybe the humans weren't trying to scare the galaxy. Maybe they were just warning it, out of kindness. Because if Earth ever decided to leave its blue cradle, it would not be to ask for friendship. It would be to finish what others had started. Cale Varn sat alone in his dark room, surrounded by glowing data screens. Outside the observation window, the stars looked peaceful, but he knew the truth. Peace was a mask, a lie, especially when it came to Earth. He had spent years studying humans, and now he had reached a strange conclusion. They weren't the threat the galaxy feared. They were the storm no one was ready for. The Council had marked Earth as a forbidden zone. No one was allowed to enter. No one was allowed to send probes, ships, or even messages. The Volari were humiliated. 2 of their best scout ships had vanished without a trace. One left behind a warning. The other didn't even leave smoke. But Earth had done something else. Something worse. They had responded. That meant they knew. They had watched. They had allowed the Council to think they were weak. And when the Council reached too far, Earth pushed back. Not with war, not with noise, but with quiet power, with terrifying silence. Cale Varn couldn't stop thinking about that signal from Earth, a clean, perfect map of the galaxy, with red marks on the planets that had dared to touch Earth. Those red marks were not threats. They were gravestones, the kind of message that says we remember and we know where you sleep. No other species in the galaxy behaved this way. Most tried to show their strength loudly. They built massive ships, flew flags, gave speeches. But humans? They smiled, they joked, they hid their knives behind friendly eyes, and when they struck, there was no mercy. Now the galaxy was afraid. For the first time, Earth had everyone's attention. But humans didn't send diplomats. They didn't ask for a place in the Galactic Council. They didn't build a fleet or start a war. They just went quiet again, like nothing happened, as if they were waiting. Kael'varn began to wonder, what exactly were they waiting for? Back on Earth, something had changed. A small group of human scientists, people working on deep space communication, had found something strange in the sky. A brief signal, bouncing from an unknown source. It wasn't human-made, it wasn't from Earth. But the pattern was familiar. It was mathematical, structured. One of the scientists, a woman named Dr. Elena Cruz, became obsessed with the signal. She believed it wasn't the first time Earth had received messages from the stars. But this time, she thought, the message wasn't a greeting, it was a warning. Her research was ignored by her government. Her funding was cut. People laughed at her, called her paranoid. But she kept working in secret. She didn't know what Kael'varn knew. She didn't know about the missing ships, about the council, about the real reason Earth was left alone. But she could feel something coming. And she wasn't the only one. Across Earth, in strange and scattered ways, humans began to prepare. Not because of orders, not because of evidence, but because of instinct. A feeling in their bones. Soldiers trained harder. Hackers started building stronger firewalls. Engineers built faster rockets. Children played games about alien invasions, and somehow they got all the details right. It was like the whole species was dreaming the same dream. A dream of fire and stars and battles. Kael'varn noticed this too. From his hidden satellite in Earth's orbit, he saw no weapons, no fleets. But he saw factories working day and night. He saw secret bases under the ice. He saw ships being tested in the dark, far from any city. Not big ships, small, fast, smart, designed to move through space like ghosts. Humans were preparing, but not for defense. They were preparing to go out. That terrified Kael'varn more than anything else. One night, deep in a council security meeting, a general from the Zethari species made a bold suggestion. If Earth is such a threat, maybe we should destroy it now, before it grows stronger. Others agreed. They said Earth was a disease, a virus waiting to spread. It was better to burn it while it was still in the cradle. Kael'varn stood up and slammed his fist on the table. "You do not understand what you're dealing with," he said. "Humans are not monsters because they hate. They are monsters because they love, because they protect what's theirs, because they fight for things bigger than themselves. You attack them now, and they will not break. They will become something worse, something unstoppable." The room went silent. No one dared to challenge him. They had seen the evidence, the red planets, the vanished ships, the laughing warriors of Earth, who fought like madmen and smiled at death. No one pressed the idea again. Still, the fear remained. Kael'varn returned to his private research. He began decoding the signal Dr. Elena Cruz had found. It wasn't just a warning, it was a memory, a record of something ancient, a time when humans had touched something wrong. Thousands of years ago, before history was written, Earth had been visited, not by a race but by something else, a presence, a force with no name. It had left behind something hidden, buried deep in the earth. It didn't give the humans technology. It gave them something worse, the ability to evolve quickly, too quickly. Humans changed faster than any other species, not just physically but emotionally, mentally. Their emotions were wild but also powerful. Love, rage, grief, hope. These weren't just feelings for humans, they were weapons. Fuel. Kael'varn understood now. That's why every invasion had failed. The more you pushed them, the more dangerous they became. They didn't fight for glory. They fought because they couldn't accept defeat. They fought because losing felt like death to their very soul, and they always learned from their mistakes. Now the question was, what would happen when they had no more mistakes left to learn? In a hidden chamber deep under the Atlantic Ocean, a human team was activating something new. A ship, not made of steel or fuel, but of energy and thought. The technology wasn't from Earth, but the mind behind it was human. It was the first of its kind. A ship that didn't just fly, it listened, it learned, it connected to the human pilot like a second skin. Together, they became something more. A single will, a silent promise. They called the ship Vigilant. Cale Varn watched from orbit, heart heavy. He sent one last message to the Council. They are not coming to conquer. They are coming to understand. And that is what makes them dangerous. He didn't know if the Council would listen. Some still believed humans could be controlled. Others believed they could be destroyed. But he had seen the truth. Earth was not weak. Earth had never been weak. It had just been waiting. And now, it was awake. The stars were quiet, but Earth was not. From deep inside the planet, activity had started to grow. Not loud. Not in the way the Galactic Council expected. There were no massive armies marching, no planet-sized ships being built. But something else was moving. Something more dangerous. Human curiosity combined with silence. When humans went quiet, it didn't mean they were scared. It meant they were planning. The ship, Vigilant, Earth's first fully neural-linked spacecraft, had completed its first flight. It didn't use fuel in the traditional sense. It moved like thought. Fast, smooth, without resistance. It connected with its pilot in a way no alien technology ever had. The ship didn't obey commands. It understood them. The pilot, Lieutenant Adrian Ross, was chosen for one reason. He wasn't the strongest or the fastest. He was the calmest under pressure. He had once walked through a minefield carrying a wounded soldier, with bullets flying around him, and never once lost his breath. Adrian called Vigilant her. To him, the ship was alive. It felt like she breathed with him. When he was angry, she got faster. When he was scared, she became quieter. She read him better than any human ever had. Back on Earth, people didn't know the full truth. Most thought their governments were just exploring space. They had no idea how many alien species had tried to erase them. They had no idea how many had already failed. But Adrian was starting to learn. On his second mission, Vigilant picked up a signal. It wasn't human. It was from a Council probe, hidden near Mars. The signal was weak, masked. Someone was spying again. Adrian didn't ask for permission. He just acted. In less than 30 seconds, Vigilant reached the probe. The AI system inside the ship analyzed its structure, broke its encryption, and sent the Council a message. "We see you, we forgive you," once. Then Adrian destroyed the probe, but not violently. He disassembled it piece by piece with energy fields, leaving its parts floating gently in space. The message reached the Council in less than a minute. It spread like fire across the galaxy. Fear turned into panic. Species who had mocked Earth now refused to speak its name. Others moved their colonies further away. Some even erased Earth from their star maps, hoping that if they ignored the humans, maybe the humans would forget them too. But humans didn't forget. They remembered everything. Cale Varn, still watching from his hidden station, knew the time had come. Earth was no longer just reacting. Now, it was choosing who to become. And that was the most dangerous moment in any species' evolution. Not when they gained strength, but when they gained clarity. Cale Varn went through old reports from extinct civilizations. He saw the signs now, patterns no one else had noticed. All the species who had gone too close to Earth, all the ones who had disappeared, shared one thing in common. They all underestimated human imagination. Humans didn't need to copy alien technology. They dreamed better ones. They didn't need to steal ideas. They built new ones from dust. They didn't see rules as limits, they saw them as challenges. That was how the humans beat the Ilari, the Threxan, and even the shadow creatures from Sector D9. They didn't match them weapon for weapon. They outthought them. Now Earth's scientists, led by Dr. Elena Cruz, were working on something even more dangerous than Vigilant. It was called Project Pulse. It wasn't a weapon, it was a language. Dr. Cruz believed humans didn't need to fire weapons to win wars. They could use sound, light, rhythm. She had been studying alien signals for years and found something terrifying. All known species reacted to certain human-made patterns, music, specifically. But not just any music. War songs. From tribal drums to heavy metal to military marches, humans had created sounds that triggered emotional panic in other species. Some felt fear, others rage, a few simply froze. And these reactions weren't trained, they were instinctive. As if something inside alien brains already knew to fear the human beat. Project Pulse was designed to turn that into a weapon of peace, or a warning of war. They tested the signal by bouncing it off the moon. The frequency reached a passing council, drone ship. The drone's AI system immediately shut down. It sent back an error message in 5 different languages, all saying the same thing. Make it stop. The humans hadn't even aimed at it. Dr. Cruz smiled, but there was sadness in her eyes. She knew what this meant. Earth was changing the game. Adrian Ross, flying Vigilant, was given new orders. He was to leave the solar system, to visit the edge of Council territory, not to fight, not to spy, but to introduce himself. The Council panicked. When they saw Vigilant leave Earth's gravity and slip into deep space, several member species called emergency meetings. Some wanted to destroy the ship immediately. Others said to let it pass. Maybe it was just one human. Maybe if they were quiet, it would go away. But that was the problem. Adrian wasn't just one man. He carried Earth's message. He reached the edge of the Valari system in 3 days, something no ship had ever done. The Valari, still angry about their lost scout ships, sent 10 warships to intercept him. They surrounded him, locked on, demanded surrender. Adrian said nothing. He simply opened Vigilant's main channel and played Project Pulse. The warships froze. Not their engines. Their crews. The Valari soldiers inside the ship started to panic. Some tore off their uniforms. Some began to scream. A few fired at each other, thinking they were under attack from within. In less than 10 minutes, all 10 ships drifted, powerless. Adrian turned off the signal. Then he sent one message to Valari Command. Do not misunderstand. We came in peace. You chose fear. He turned around and left. He didn't attack. He didn't threaten. He didn't need to. He had proven what humans were now. The news spread faster than anything in Council history. A single human ship had broken a blockade without firing a shot. One pilot, one song, one message. Kael'varn watched the reactions. Some species begged to join Earth. Others isolated themselves out of fear. The Council tried to hide the event, but everyone already knew. Humanity had stepped onto the galactic stage, and it hadn't asked for permission. Back on Earth, Adrian Ross returned to a silent celebration. No parades, no speeches, just a private moment with his team, with Dr. Cruz, with the engineers and thinkers who had made it possible. Then quietly, a new message appeared on the main console of Vigilant. It wasn't from Earth. It wasn't from the Council. It was from somewhere far beyond known space. A single word. We've been waiting. Kael'varn saw it too. His heart stopped, because he recognized the signal's code. It matched one from a report over 10,000 years old. A report from a species long gone. A warning they had left behind in a message that no one had ever understood. Until, now it said, when the children of Earth learn to walk among stars, the sky itself will change, and the old ones will return. For the first time, Kael'varn was not afraid of humans. He was afraid for them. They had made the galaxy fear them, but now something greater had taken notice. Something older than the Council, older than the stars. Earth was no longer the hunted, but they might not be the hunters either. They were the key, and someone had just unlocked the door.